All right, our next speaker, we have Jason Posnick coming up. Very good friend of mine. He's going to be coming up and giving you guys some great information that you're just going to love. Sales director, Lamacchia Realty, leads agents, training, also sales development, sharp focus on conversion and sales strategy. Jason brings over a decade of experience coaching real estate agents across the country. He's worked with hundreds of agents one-on-one, thousands in group settings, known for turning complex ideas into clear, actionable systems to produce results. Prior to Lamacchia, Jason helped scale a company from 110 sales to over 1,000 in just 4 years. So that's pretty awesome. Strong believer in servant leadership. Jason's passionate about helping agents and exceed their own expectations. Let's bring up my man. Where is he? Jason Posnick. Come on up, buddy.
Let's go. Come on. Come on.
Here you go, bud.
Oh, yes, sir. Woo! How we doing? Doing well? All right, so I run a little bit hot, and this jacket's a little bit tight because, well, we won't talk about it. So we're going to drop that. All right, first thing I got to say is, Willie, my man, those hips don't lie. That was freaking, you got me, that's what got me hot, I'm going to be honest with you. So what's going on, everyone? I'm Jason Posnick. First of all, grateful to be here, right? And like Willie said, my passion in life is leadership, but really it's people. Because I believe that leadership is not about rank or title, but leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. And how many of you, by a show of hands, would agree that you take care of your clients? If your hand isn't up, get out of the room. I'm looking at you. A little higher. There she is, right? She's like, I'm leaving now. I'm leaving this guy. So, and because of that, what I want to focus on with everyone today is mindset over market. Because coaching agents throughout the country, in group settings and one-on-one and speaking at conferences, I love AI. I love technology. It's important, use it. But here's what you don't want to do, is use it so much that it ruins the human connection. And I see it happening far too often. We use AI to write these amazing texts and amazing emails. Can you sell via text? No. Can you sell via email? Absolutely not. And I'm going to explain to you why today. I'm going to give you actionable steps that from this day you can take and apply to your business, your life, your relationships, and really what it's going to do is not only improve your business, but improve your life through business. So, as you can see, I am a coach, I'm a father, prior military, and what I've learned through life is that we are not what we've accomplished, but we are what we are focused on. And I believe more than anything that every single human being has so much more potential than we even realize. But the problem is either our environment, our mindset, what we're learning, or who we're surrounded by. And that with the right support, dedication, guidance, and sometimes a little bit of tough love, we can and will accomplish way more than we ever expected. And so I got into coaching real estate agents kind of by mistake. I was out of the Marine Corps by mistake, and then I was young and had no idea what I was going to do. I love fitness, so I followed my passion. I was selling freaking gym memberships as a 21, 22-year-old, living at my parents and just moved back home, didn't know what I wanted to do. Ended up being #1 sales rep, and what I learned there was that selling gym memberships wasn't about selling gym memberships. It was about helping people accomplish a more confident self and how they view and feel about themselves simply through fitness. And when I sold these memberships, it wasn't about the gym, but it was about their goal, what they perceived, where they wanted to go. Moving on, I got into construction sales and medical device sales, and throughout all of these experiences, I continued to learn that regardless of the product I offered, what really was the single most important thing was me. See, in medical device sales, it was funny. I could have worked from home every single day, but I would get up 4 or 5 a.m. and drive to whatever hospitals I was calling on. And if I had 0 cases in those hospitals, I would set up in the operating room, or in the operating break room, and I would talk to every surgeon, every nurse, every circulator, every tech that I could. And I would just send my emails and do my thing, kind of like an open house. And after months of being there, they'd be like, who the hell are you? What are you doing in the OR? Why are you here? And those conversations led to sales. I ended up being the #1 sales rep in a small company called Stryker. If you know Stryker, it's not a small company at all. They've got over tens of thousands of employees. Now I was promoted to leadership, yada, yada, yada. And then I got a little burnt out, and I fell into real estate. I started a company that had 4 agents selling about 80 homes a year, and we grew it to over 130 agents selling 1,000 homes a year. And the way that we grew it and grew those agents, yeah, we had leads, yeah, we had tech, yes, we used our CRM. That's all important. But the number one thing that separated these agents from every other one was how they connected with human beings. And so what I believe is that we can all accomplish more. My goal today is to help you to connect better. Obviously, my beautiful little son in that picture, Lev, he is my everything in this world, my heart and soul. And the reason I have those 2 pictures up there are because the military taught me discipline. But it taught me discipline out of force, not out of passion. Having a son, how many of you have kids? Having a son taught me discipline out of love. It made me focus on doing, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It made me focus not just on what I was doing, why I was doing it. And at the end of the day, I still work 90, 100 hours a week. I take calls all the time. I do coaching calls 7 days a week. But now I've got a bigger focus, supporting other agents with their business, but that business is a vehicle to life. We don't live to work, we don't live to work, we work to live. And I've now finally learned this. And being present in every relationship is key. And so moving on, one of the single most important tenets that we have to understand is that no one buys what you do. No one does. And yes, how you do it is important, but what people will actually buy is why you do it. Now, notice when I opened this up today, I didn't open up with, you should this, you should that. I opened up with, I believe that people can accomplish way more than they actually realize. See, that's my belief. That's my purpose. And so everything I do is in an effort to help make that a reality. Now, how do I do it? I do it by giving agents time, energy, support, ideas. I push them, as I did Tracy earlier today. Get them out of their comfort zone, not to be uncomfortable, but to be better. What do? I help agents make more money and have a better life. And this isn't just a fancy way of selling yourself, but this is actually how people need you to communicate. Because the decision to buy, or in this case to hire you, is not a logical decision. It is emotional. And this isn't psychology or science, but rather it's biology, right? The human brain has 2 main parts. The external, it's called the prefrontal cortex. It's used for logical reasoning. Numbers, figures, 2 plus 2 is? 4. That was slow, wow. Thank God this isn't a math class, right? And logic is important, but believe it or not, the internal portion of the brain is called the limbic. And the limbic portion of the brain is where all decisions are made. It is the emotional center of the brain. Who in here, by show of hands, has ever gone to buy something and you've said, oh, it's the right price, it's the right color, it looks great. It just doesn't feel right. Anybody? Right? It makes sense, but it doesn't feel right because you're not emotionally attached. And starting with why, and starting with your why, is how you will do it. Because here's how it sounds, how a lot of realtors market themselves. I'm in real estate. If you want to buy, sell, or invest, call me. I can show you houses. I can sell your home for more. I've got a great marketing proposal. Pick me. Who wants to hire that realtor? Nobody. But we all do it all the time. That's communicating from the outside in. What, how, why. But if you can flip the script and communicate from the inside out. Hey guys, my name is Jason, and before we talk about real estate and homes in your home, I want to share a little bit about me is that I'm not in this industry because I love homes or even because I love real estate. I believe that there's a gap that needs to be filled by a higher level of agent, that people who are buying and selling homes deserve a better experience, a better outcome, and most importantly, to maintain the relationship with their agent after the transaction. And so my focus in working with all of my clients is not just on selling your home or helping you buy one, but it's on 2 main things, communication and understanding. My goal is to communicate efficiently and consistently to ensure that I always understand your expectations, but that you understand mine so that we're on the same page and we can have the best outcome. Now, I'm curious, were you more focused on buying a home or selling a home? Does that sound a little bit better? Right? When you communicate from the inside out, you're going to make a bigger impact. People understand why you're doing the thing. Not to make money, right? We all want to make money. I want to make money. But if money is your only driving factor, you're not going to last that long. You've got to have a bigger purpose. You've got to have a why, and you've got to have a reason. And so the other thing that I believe, and who's ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? Now, I'm not saying be like him. I'm not telling you to go be Jordan Belfort and throw your gold Rolex and swear like a demon doing drugs. But what I am telling you is that he has this definition of sales, that sales is the transference of emotion. That in order for you to get hired, people have to feel emotionally tied to you, but more importantly, the outcome that you can give them. Because what do you actually sell? Houses? What do you think? Ooh, you sell yourself. Which corner? Where can I find you? How much? I'm just kidding. Can't afford me. I love you. What an answer. She's probably right. My wife is going to leave me after this. We do sell ourselves, but we sell ourselves and our ability to better help somebody else accomplish their goal. Or even better, to help them accomplish their goal better than anybody else. I'm not saying that's about you all competing with each other, but let's be honest. We kind of are. Can we agree on that? That's not to say put anybody else down, but God damn it, you got to be better. And so when I say the transference of emotion, well, that means we have to understand how to transfer emotion and what emotions to transfer. The two most important emotions in any sales or relationship to transfer are security and confidence. You've got to get people to feel, not think, but feel confident in your abilities and secure that by hiring you, they will have a better outcome. Sound difficult? No, I love that. Oh, it's like we do it every day. So it comes down to a few things. The first 4 seconds of any call, any interaction, you want to accomplish 3 things. That you're enthusiastic as hell, sharp as a tack, and an expert in your field. Now, how many of us struggle on the phones? By show of hands. Anybody, you don't like it, you feel uncomfortable, especially on the first 4 seconds of a call? It's actually very simple. Enthusiastic as hell. You're going to accomplish that by having an upbeat tone. We'll get into that in a little bit. Sharp as a tack. Well, it's very simply calling with intention. We're never calling to check in. We're never calling to see how you're doing. We're never calling to just see how I can help. The reason for the call is, Marissa, I'm calling you because last time we spoke, you said blah, 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 and therefore I'm curious, open-ended question. Right? Sharp as a tack means that you've got an intention. And lastly, that you're an expert in your field. Now, this one's a little bit more difficult, but we simply convey this by leveraging titles, and it could be realtor, it could be a designation that you have, it could be a program that you have, right? You may have the Jason Posnick customized home marketing system. It may sound silly to some, but titles are the clothing of language. If I go to McDonald's, I don't ask for 2 hamburger patties, 3 buns, lettuce, tomato, special sauce. I ask for a goddamn Big Mac. Not that I eat fast food, but that's what I would ask for. Hopefully you guys can tell, right? And so it comes down to those 3 things in the first 4 seconds. But presence and demeanor are everything because you are leaders and you're held to that standard. The last thing is attitude. And we talked about this morning. We talk about it all the time, and so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But what I'm also not going to do is tell you to be positive. If you're having a down day and I look you in the eye and I say, be positive, it's okay, how do you feel? Like, get out of my face, dude, shut up. I'm having a bad day, let me be pissed. Don't think positive, just think neutral. There was a study done by a psychologist, social psychologist named Christine Porath, and she studied language and thoughts and how thoughts versus words impact emotion. And what she found is fascinating, is that negative thoughts are 30 times more powerful than positive. And negative spoken word is 7 times more powerful than that. So you can think it sucks, you can think it's hard, you can think I'm tired, I want to go home. Just don't say it. I'm not saying say, I love this and be fake, but stop yourself from saying the negative things out loud. Because thoughts do get driven by emotions, but thoughts don't have to become words when you make the choice. And I do believe that success is all about little choices we make every single day. Whether you get up when your alarm goes off or you hit snooze, whether you make the call or you don't, whether you prep for the appointment or you don't, whether you're actually doing things with intention and belief and purpose, or you're just flying by the seat of your pants hoping that the best thing happens. But we never go uphill by accident. We don't grow by accident, we grow intentionally. However, we can fall downhill if we're in neutral. Looking at communication, I'm sure some of you have heard this before. Communication breaks down to three things: words, tonality, and body language. Who thinks words is the biggest part of communication? No, love it. Words are only 7% of communication. The things that we actually say and write and send are 7% of communication. The average human being has to hear the same thing 7 times to comprehend 50% of it. Sick, isn't it? It drives me nuts. Excuse me? The average human being has to hear the same thing 7 times to comprehend 50%. Oh, I get it. God damn it. You know what? What's your name? I fucking love you. That was awesome. And you got me. I'm stealing that. This isn't to say that we can say dumb things, but it is to say that focusing on the words won't create the impact. Go back to using AI for that great text or that great email. Cool, it's great, it's got big words. They're probably not going to remember half of it, nor will they read most of it. Then we've got tonality. Tonality is how you say the things. Brian had a great quote from Maya Angelou up there earlier. I have one that I love and live by, which is people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Guys, that is sales at the heart. And so tone is how you say the things, the cadence with which you say it, the volume with which you say it, but most importantly, the emotion that it conveys. But that's still only 38% of communication, which leaves body language. Body language is 55% of communication. But can you see body language over a phone? Do me a favor, everyone right now, sit like you are depressed as hell. Look at the heads going down, shoulders. She smiled a little bit, but she's just a happy camper. Now, sit like you're 7 years old and I just brought the cake in at your birthday party and we're about to sing happy birthday. Right? Let's go! Yeah, cake! How many of you notice that not only did you change your body language, but you made noise, your facial expression? See, the beautiful thing about body language is it's the single greatest component of communication, because how you move your body is going to dictate how you sound. One agent I coach is hilarious. She's a badass. She was having a terrible day one day, making her phone calls and getting hung up on and no answers. I said, go outside. It was the middle of summer. Go for a walk, whatever. She didn't go for a walk. She laid in the grass, which to me is weird as hell, but it worked for her. Then she stood up and she went back and made her calls and booked 3 appointments. And mind you, she was calling leads she met at open houses within the last 6 months because I made her do it because she hadn't been following up appropriately. 3 appointments with people she'd already met that were up to 6 months old. She simply had to change her state, right? And so the reason body language is so important is the letters E-M-O-T-I-O-N. What do they spell? Emotion. What do you have if you drop the E? Motion. Motion guides emotion. Feel like shit, move your body. Sound like shit, move your body. Because how you move your body is going to change how you sound. How you sound is going to dictate how the consumer feels, and how they feel about you is going to dictate whether or not you get that second phone call, you get that appointment. They object an extra time or not. See, I shared this morning, I did a little project with my prior company. My agents kept on telling me that the leads suck, the leads suck. Now, as Willie said, the leads never suck, right? It's probably your follow-up, your engagement, your scripts, your energy. But they want to say the leads suck. So I said, all right, deal. Let's have a bet. 6 months, I'm going to work as an agent again. I'm going to make phone calls, work on a schedule, go on listing appointments with the same leads you all have. I made every single phone call on speakerphone on the sales floor, 7 days a week. I booked 156 listing appointments and signed 127 in 6 months. Now, the best part, yeah, it's a pretty big accomplishment. I'll take it, right? The best part, though, isn't the sale. It's the impact. What it proved to the agents. That A, the leads didn't suck. B, they got to hear me get yelled at and shut down a few times. But C, that every call I made was standing up. That the majority of my calls were not seeking to sell, but to learn. To understand the people that I'm engaging with. Because sales is human if we choose to make it. The more you talk about houses, well, if there's not a house they love, you're of no use to them. But the more you talk about people, problems, that's where you're going to win them over. And so this is something I came up with 4 years ago, and it's been a game changer as far as qualifying and working with buyers and sellers. And if you notice, I call this the human qualifier. There is nothing in there about where are you looking, what's your price range, how many bedrooms and bathrooms do you want, because it doesn't freaking matter in the early stages. What matters, first of all, is the person's situation. Because what is the only reason anybody buys or sells real estate? Because of what? Looking to move, To make money, They have a need. Situation, yeah. So write this down and tattoo this on your freaking forehead or on mine and just look at it every day. The only reason anybody will ever buy or sell real estate is to improve the quality of their life. Simple. I mean, let's be honest. Who buys or sells a home to make life worse? Give me one example. I'll go put 1,000 on black for you right now. It doesn't happen. Now, here's the thing. Now that we know that to be true, that the only reason they're inquiring to buy or sell is to improve the quality of their life, our job is simple. We just have to find out how. Is it more space, less space, closer to work, further from work? Right? Is it a job relocation? Is it a death? You've just got to find out how. And so the first thing you're always going to dig for is the person's current situation. Where are you living? How long have you been there? What do you love about it? What do you hate? Hey, I know that you said you're living in Schenectady, but you're looking at homes in Albany. What's important about getting to Albany? We're looking to understand the human being. How will buying or selling improve their situation? Fun fact, first home I ever sold, I bought a home when I was 22. Again, I'd moved home young, out of the military. Couldn't stay at my parents for more than 3 months. I was going crazy. So I bought a condo. Fast forward, I met a beautiful woman you all saw earlier. We also then had 2 Chihuahuas, which was amazing, and I love little dogs. But having 2 Chihuahuas with my now wife in a condo that kept sending me goddamn fines for putting a flower pot on the steps or no cover on the grill, I was losing my mind. And I knew I loved her and I wanted to marry and spend my life with her, and I love kids and wanted to have a family. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'm out of here. We're going to get a house in a neighborhood. We got the money, let's go. So I went on Zillow. I got into real estate being a Zillow lead, fun fact. Went onto Zillow, found an agent, whatever. And what happened was that agent, the first one I met with, talked about selling, price, process, and it was just not fun. Second agent I met with talked about my situation. She got me talking about the HOA so much in that first listing consultation that I couldn't wait to sign fast enough to get out of there. I wasn't buying a home because I needed to. I was buying a home because of purpose. I was emotionally tied to A, getting the hell away from the HOA and the neighbors who were loud and not having a garage, but B, to get to the next phase of my life. So the first thing you always have to uncover is situation. Second thing is motivation. Now, people always tell me, when I say, what is motivation? They say, the goal. Motivation is not goal. And it's very improper to confuse the two. The goal is where you're getting. The goal is a combination of situation change and timeline and urgency, right? If I say I want to lose weight, if I want to lose 20 pounds, is that a motivation or a goal? Goal. If I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months for my wedding, what's my motivation? Buy the wedding in 3 months, right? But so often, it's funny, I coach agents, and the first call is always an intake call. We look at their pipeline and who they're working with, and I've got this little sheet, and we talk about motivation, timeline, and urgency. And so often, I see they have 20 people in this pipeline sheet, and the motivation says ASAP. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You've got 20 clients who want to buy or sell ASAP. Tell me more. Yeah, ASAP when they find the right house. That's not ASAP. Like, yes, finding the right house is important, but what's actually driving them? And so often as agents, we don't dig into when do you want to be there, but more importantly, what's important about that timeline? Is there a lease up? If it is up then and we don't find you the right home, what's our plan B? There is no plan B, we got to do it. Great, let's get on the wagon. Right? But we confuse these two things and it stops us from digging. And the better you're going to do as far as your sales is going to be reliant on how much you learn. Third thing we talked about quickly is the goal. Once you've uncovered those 2 items, the magic is you state the goal to them, right? Hey, Colleen, so it's been great talking to you. It sounds like you really are looking most importantly, to get over to Albany because you just started a new job there and you want to get closer to work. really so you can save time with the drive and the traffic to have more time with your family. So I think our next best step would be, then you can make a recommendation. But you can't make a recommendation until you've diagnosed the problem. And the beautiful thing is step 4, problem. You use the problem as a reason for the meeting. Because you said blank, which you want to achieve by blank, the best next step for us would be to do blank so that we can blank. Very simple. And when you follow this, what you're going to find is that your conversations become more enjoyable for you because you're talking to humans about human things, not buying and selling houses. Step 5, the solution is always you. It's actually one really cool tip I'll share with all of you. Write this down, take this, do this, because this helped me secure so many listings. How many of you, when you set a listing appointment or buyer's appointment, send a calendar invite? Show of hands? Wow, not many. So you should always send a calendar invite. But what I see a lot of agents do is in the subject of the calendar invite, they put listing appointment. Stop using industry lingo with non-industry people, right? It just confuses them. Or they put selling your house, or buying a house, or meeting with Jason. Does that excite the consumer? No. So fun story for you. I had met this gentleman, Paul. He came in as an inquiry, a seller lead. He was looking to sell his home. On the phone call, I uncovered that his wife had just passed away of breast cancer. And that when she was alive, they set their goal that when he retired, they would move to Myrtle Beach and stay there forever because it was their favorite place to vacation together. Well, she had just passed away. And so we dug a little bit deeper. I learned about him. And when I set the appointment, the calendar invite, subject, said, getting Paul to the beach. You think he canceled that appointment? No. When I finally met with him, I brought an agent with me because I was no longer selling. I was coaching and training and leading. I made a group text with the 3 of us, Paul, the other agent, and myself. On the group text, you can put a little title. We put that little beach chair emoji. And he didn't hire us off the jump. He wanted to interview at least 3 different agents. And his neighbor, well, diagonally across the street, worked for another company. And after he actually hired us about a week and a half later, he said, I have to let you know that of everyone I met with, you were the most expensive. But you were also the only one that made me feel like a person. Because every time you texted me or called me, I saw that beach chair. And it actually reminded me why I'm doing this. And it actually still gives me goosebumps to this day. Another gentleman had gotten a new job in Boston. And he was driving about an hour each way to and from work. Well, he just had a young son. And he found that with his young baby, he would leave the house by 5 a.m., 5:30. Baby didn't wake up till 6. He would get home at 6:37. Baby went to bed at 6:37. His purpose for selling his home and buying a new one was to have more time with his son. Subject of the meeting, getting you more time with your son. And it's funny because he at the appointment said, I was going to cancel on you, but then I saw that stupid subject line, and I just couldn't do it. We sold his house and helped him buy one shortly thereafter. Moral of the story, if we talk to people about human concepts, we have better results. But here's the best part. When the transactions ended, do you think it was easier to maintain a true relationship because of how we built it? Without a doubt. We're friends on Facebook. I actually just got a referral probably like 3 months ago now, from the first gentleman I told you about who's moving to South Carolina. It becomes simple because they feel like you actually care. And that's the key to everything in this business. It is a human relationship business. Now, this slide's about intentionality, and that intentionality is, in fact, the cure to mediocrity. Now, when I say intentionality, it gets confusing to some people because you might have the best of intentions, but perception is reality, and if I come off as an arrogant person or an idiot or whatever, if that's your perception of me based on my actions, I've got to change them or deal with them. So I say intention, I don't just mean your intentions, but intentionality, the purpose behind what you do. How many of you have a CRM? How many of you use it every day and only make phone calls with it open? You can come work with me. It's like 7 of you. We got to get a little more going, right? The reason why we don't do the things is because we don't have a plan or we haven't set up the boundaries to keep us focused. When I was selling, I only made phone calls with my CRM in front of me. And every single phone call I made had a follow-up scheduled. And in the follow-up would be either the question I had to uncover next, right? Ask Marissa about blank because last time she said blank, or what phase I was in of the call plan, the follow-up. So I would always add a specific note to the follow-up so I knew what I was calling for, so I could say the reason for the call is, or I'm calling you because, which saved me time, showed them that they're important, but also that I listen. And after every call, check the box, add the notes, schedule the next. Right? It's a very, very simple industry. Problem is we get distracted. We get too busy. It's not important enough to us because we're not focused on the purpose. Intentional conversations. Going into every conversation possible knowing where you want to go with it. Right? If you don't know what your desired outcome is, you don't even know what to ask. And you definitely aren't going to be able to listen to much because they're not going to know what to say. It's going to be a lot of, I don't knows, call me later. Right? But if you know where you want to bring it, what is the next phase? And sometimes it's not getting an appointment. Sometimes the greatest calls are simply to earn the next call, to uncover one thing that will lead to the next. And that brings me to the next step, which this will change your business if you're not doing it. It's called closing the loop. You've probably heard it called something else, tie down, whatever. But every single conversation, meeting, any engagement with a consumer, you've got to take leadership. You've got to take leadership, meaning that you're giving direction. And so what closing the loop is, it's not about features, but benefits. It's about what you're going to do next, when you're going to connect next, and what the benefit is to them. Right? So, hey, so-and-so, is great talking. Why don't we do this? Because you said blank, the next best step is probably blank, meeting with a lender, meeting with a plumber, whatever. I'm going to get you in touch with somebody, and then I'll follow up with you after to make sure that the call went well. If you prefer, I'm happy to be on the call. This way, we're sure that you like them. And after that meeting, we'll schedule a time to connect so that we can take the next steps and look at the process. Sound good? Right? If you close the loop every single conversation, you're never not going to know what to say. And this applies to your sphere as well, and your past clients or closed transactions. If at the end of every single call you give clarity to what's coming next, people are more likely to answer. Because why don't people answer phone calls from random numbers? Because it's a surprise, right? We as human beings don't like surprises. We don't want to be called in the middle of the day by a realtor from a number we don't know and asked if we want to sell our home. But if I spoke to this person 2 weeks ago and they told me they're going to call me in 2 weeks at 2 o'clock to discuss blank, well, now it's not a surprise, right? Same concept goes with what's called priming the pump. If you ever forget to close the loop, simple. Send a text a day or two before you call them. Hey, Brian, hope you had a great holiday. I know last time we spoke, we discussed speaking after the new year. I've got a call scheduled for you tomorrow at 2. If there's a better time, let me know. Otherwise, talk then. Send the text. They may not answer, but at least you've told them you're going to be calling. You remove the surprise, which makes them feel more comfortable and respected. The worst way to try to earn a client is not to respect their time. At the end of the day, and this is a Jim Rohn quote, we all know that we can't control the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. And I think so often we wish the market was better, we wish it was easier, we wish we had more leads, higher prices, interest rates would go down. Well, fun fact for you guys, none of that shit matters. Truly doesn't. Interest rates could go to 10% tomorrow, and there will still be people buying and selling. And there will still be top agents, and there will still be bottom agents. What happens outside of what you can control doesn't matter nearly as much as what you can, but it depends on you knowing what you're actually going to do with it. The number one reason why we as human beings quit is simple. We don't see the purpose. And so while you can't predict the rain, you can always carry an umbrella. That means have the skills. Be prepared. Come to events like this, but some of you are going to leave right after this or right after the event or go get hammered at the cocktail hour, and you'll apply nothing. You'll have a blast, but apply nothing. And if that's your goal, if you're like, you know what, I just want to go get messed up with a bunch of realtors, cool. You accomplished it. But if your goal is being here to be better, then I challenge you to actually apply that right after this. Our social media panel was awesome, and I love the conversation about directly replying to every comment. How many of you do that regularly? Show of hands. You're going to, right? I'm going to take it a step further. This is something I have a bunch of my coaching clients doing now. It's one thing to reply to a comment, but we can all kind of do that. What I have my clients do is when you post a reel or even a picture, go and look at who is liking it, not even commenting, and send them a DM. Hey, I really appreciate you liking that video. It is so uncomfortable for me to be on there, and it means the world. If I can ever support you, do anything to help you, I'm all in. You think paying gratitude to other people makes them want to do something for you? There's something called reasonable person theory. It's very simple. People want to help people who have helped them. They're more likely to do something for you. And so it's cool because one agent I coach, she's 23, she's a badass, and she's just getting into the business and figuring it out. It's her second full year. She did 12 sales last year in her first with zero experience professionally ever. And she started doing this, and she hates video. And the first time she sent those messages to people who were just liking the post, she had 2 responses right away. She only sent 7 messages. First response, oh my God, I wish you were in real estate when I had you. These videos are so good, I'm happy to support. Then they continued talking. He's looking to buy an investment property in Leominster, Massachusetts, and now they're searching. Second person that messaged her said, it was so great, thank you. I'd love to learn more about VA loans. I'm thinking of buying. So the next video she did about VA loans, she sent it directly to him and then thanked him. Right? She got 2 clients from simply taking the initiative to be grateful. And another really cool thing I had her do that you guys can steal is I had her screenshot the message he sent saying, I wish I knew you were in real estate when I was looking. I'm also looking for X. I had her screenshot it, block out his name, and post that to her story. And say, don't be like him, I'm here to help, let me know. And it blew up. She got a bunch of comments from people that knew both of them and said, this is amazing, oh my God, I can't wait to buy a house with you. Because people want what other people have. And now she looks lauded, wanted. Other people want her. This is something that I stole from John Maxwell. Anybody heard of John Maxwell? Right? The mind is like Velcro for negative experiences. And we as human beings are naturally negative-seeking creatures. I mean, think back to caveman days. Everything tried to kill us. The weather, the woods, the animals. We're naturally supposed to look for issues. You ever have that client who walks into a house and there's like the smallest stain ever on a ceiling, that's all they freaking look at? You're like, it checks off every box. Yeah, but the stain, the mold, you can paint it. Paint doesn't exist, right? And you're like, what, dude? But at the end of the day, it's not about convincing them it's not there, right? But what you'll find that's amazing is that when you seek the positive will be sought by those around you. Who's ever heard of dopamine, right? Dopamine, the drug of progress, right? You get a dopamine high when you run a lot. You get a dopamine high when you get a like on Facebook. Dopamine is what keeps you doing things. What about serotonin? What's that? What is it? The opposite. It's the drug of happiness. Serotonin is happy, right? You're thinking melatonin. I'll get you some later. And then some Adderall. There's another chemical, though. It's called oxytocin. You guys ever heard of it? You ever heard of Pitocin? Used to induce women in labor. Speaking of labor, where's my guy? Still good? Let's go. His wife's in the hospital right now, about to have a baby. Yeah, give it up for that. He's like, shut up, dude. She's out? Oh, she's at work. What a savage. God damn. But oxytocin, it's the chemical of connection, right? Because here's the deal. When you get a dopamine rush, it only impacts you. When you get a serotonin high, only you feel it. But oxytocin is the chemical of love. It's the chemical of connection. Because oxytocin is what's released when a mother gives birth to a baby. And it's the only chemical that when it gets released by one, it's felt by others. It's kind of like, you ever hold the door for someone, random, and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. They were carrying a bunch of bags. And then you see them do something nice for someone else. It's amazing how it happens, the chain reaction. That is oxytocin. And so what I'm getting to with this is you're never going to get somebody to not seek negative things. But when you can focus your conversations on positive things, I'm not saying the house, but how they would use the space, how they feel about it, what would this look like, get people to speak to the future and the future benefits, that's how you're going to get them to hopefully see past that icky little stain. At the end of the day, it's all about making the shift. You've got to have clarity of vision. You've got to have planned direction. You've got to know what you're going to do, but then you've got to be focused on accountability. How many of you like being accountable? There's a few, all right. I know I don't like accountability. I'm not going to lie. I hate accountability. I hate when people hold me accountable. But goddamn do I need it. And I also find that human beings are naturally not accountable to themselves. Right? I mean, let's be honest. I love my son more than anything in this world. Legitimately. He is my everything. And my wife is a very close second. But at the end of the day, my son drives me absolutely crazy sometimes. And he had a blowout a couple of weeks ago, and it was covering the floor, and I had to get him in the shower, and then I have 4 dogs, and they were stepping in it and running. And in those moments, I wanted to scream and lose it. Not at him, just in general, right? But all I could think was, man, I'm going to let my wife down as a father, or my son, or as a husband, or my son as a father, if I can't keep it cool and get this situation handled. See, I wasn't doing the right things because I really want to do the right thing. I did not want to clean that shit up, literally. But I didn't want my wife to come home and see it because then she'd have to deal with it, and then she'd be upset. I didn't want my son to be sitting in it because that's probably not good for anybody. So the accountability actually didn't come from internal, but external. What I find is that accountability is nearly always external. But battle buddies can help it, but also understanding what kills accountability. And there are 3 main killers of accountability. They are these 3 things: shame, blame, and justification. Shame is the first killer of accountability. See, how often do we say, I'm not going to make the call because I suck on the phone? Anybody? I'm not going to go to the gym because I'm not in shape yet and people are going to look at me dumb. So you're telling yourself you're not in shape, you're not going to be accountable. You tell yourself you suck on the phone, you're not going to make the call. Whenever you start speaking or thinking negative things about yourself and what you can't do, you're not going to do it. So the first thing is, don't shame yourself. Someone in this room who I'm not going to call out, but she knows who she is. Met her this morning. We were talking. One of the first things she said to me was, I effing suck at blank. I was like, shut your mouth. And then we dug into what made her say that, how she feels, what's happening, right? Second one is blame. And we do this one a lot. We blame other people. I can't make my calls today because my kids are at home and my kids are loud. Your kids aren't that loud. You're just being lazy. And kids in the background might not be a bad thing, right? Or I can't do this because I have to go do this. Right? If you start blaming external things for why you're not hitting your goals, doing your things, you're not going to be accountable. And the last one is justification. And this happens the most, especially in business. Well, I worked really hard yesterday. I worked for like 12 hours. I'm going to skip my calls today. We start justifying not doing the thing because of some other ridiculous reason that doesn't even align. And all that these things do are kill us from doing what we have to do. It's funny, I have a couple of agents I've worked with for years now. One of them, his name's Patrick, he kills me. He has these 3 words at his desk, massively, right in front of him. And then the other day he sent me a picture. He's trying to get in better shape and improve his health. And in his bathroom, in his kitchen, and in his basement, where he has a gym, he has those 3 words. And he said the amount of times that he's about to not go to the gym and just take a shower, or that he's going to go in the basement and then leave early, or whatever it may be, that he sees those and he goes, God damn you, Jason. And sometimes he'll send me a picture saying, look what you did to me. Yeah, you're welcome. I made you better. Accountability isn't always comfortable, but it is necessary. And what I know for a fact is that I gave you a couple of things you can apply directly today. But it's not about applying them once. And this is what we discussed this morning, is that success in business and in life, it's all about consistency over intensity, right? I've seen agents do amazing things in short increments. I had one agent, he sold, I think it was $10 million in volume in 1 quarter. Guess what happened the next 3 quarters? Sold about 2 homes a quarter. Because he was so locked into this short-term goal and then realized, holy shit, I can't retire. I still got to do this? What? And so the goal isn't to apply something today or for a short period of time, but the goal is rather to find things that you can apply to your life, create a routine, create habits and disciplines. Because there are 2 pains in life, and we're all going to suffer from one. It's It's either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. As I said this morning, and as if you ever follow me, you're going to hear me say a million times, the pain of regret weighs tons, whereas the pain of discipline weighs ounces. I didn't get to bed till 11 p.m. last night. My alarm was set for 3:10 to go to the gym. Didn't want to get up. I was like, nope, promised myself I would. It's important to me. Doing it. Get dressed, get down to the gym. The only cable in the gym is broken. The treadmill wouldn't incline, and the weight stopped at 50. And I literally walked around for like 6 minutes. I go, man, I'm going to go get some food. F this. And I got to the door. And then I literally stopped, and it hit me like a ton. It said, you are going to feel so much better if you just do something. Ended up having an hour workout, felt amazing after, and filmed a stupid, ridiculous, hairy-bodied video. Might just make fun of my back here all the time. It's disgusting. In front of the sign out there. Loud at 5:30 in the morning right in the lobby. I woke up half the hotel. Right? But here's the deal. That feeling of doing the thing that I didn't want to do that wasn't easy, that is the greatest feeling of all time. Because so often we don't do something we say we're going to, and we kick ourselves, and we're frustrated, and it weighs on you. It almost shuts you down. You will never feel better in life than when you accomplish something that you weren't going to originally do, no matter what it is. And so, knowing that those two pains exist, you get to choose yours. Because here's the beauty of this industry. We've all got the exact same access to opportunity, to knowledge, to skills, to leads, to people. But the difference is what you actually choose to do with it on a daily basis. Nothing is going to be easy. And fun fact for everybody, you deserve nothing. But you can earn anything. And no matter how hard it is for you, in the moment, you can freaking do it. If you want to. If you understand why. And if it actually fucking matters. I know I got a little fired up right there. The single most important thing to me is that you leave today not with a skill, a tip, a trick. If you do, great, cool. Tell me it helped. The single most important thing to me is that you leave here today, even just one of you, feeling a little bit more inspired to do something you weren't going to do, to get uncomfortable, to try something. Because people are going to want what you have without comprehension of what requires or is required to get it. But you don't want to be that person who wants what someone else has. Right? Competition is healthy, comparison is dangerous. I can compete with you all day. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to sell more. That's fine. But not comparison. Not beating myself down because her social media is better than mine, and it is. But I'm going to get better. The greatest skill in life is the ability to be in a good mood when you've got nothing to be happy about. To put on that goddamn smile. You got a great smile. She started smirking. It made me happy. To put on a smile and go show up as the intentional person that you want to be, that you need to be in that moment. Because at the end of the day, how you impact others is going to dictate how much you earn. Not just now, but on every single deal. And so my mission for you is don't focus on selling more houses. Don't focus on making more money, but focus on the impact that you make. Focus on the connections that you create and then maintain. Because by focusing on impact and connection, you will naturally increase your sales. When you impact other people and you are constantly connecting, you will earn more money. And that money, my friends, is going to be what you need to accomplish anything and everything else that you want in life. And the last thing that I'll leave you with is that far too many people accept the life that they're in, rather than being intentional about the life that they desire. You are in the single greatest industry in the world, bar none. You have got access to make as much money as you want, as you're able, as you learn to. No one can stop you except for you. And so when I'm done talking today and I leave here and you leave here, focus on getting uncomfortable. Focus on doing the things and know that the only reason for you not to achieve your goals because of you. So I love you guys. My name is Jason Posnick. I will be here later, and I'd love to connect with as many of you as possible. Thank you.
Jason, stay up there. We got questions. All right, come on. Get it up for Jason. Give it up for Jason. Give it up for Jason. You got the clicker? Oh, we hit it. We got time. We got time for a few questions. If you guys want to come up to the pole to the microphone. Strip club for Q&A.
Can we just watch Willie dance again?
Did I not call it? Say this guy was a beast.
We gotta get a selfie.
We're gonna get a selfie. We're gonna crowd photo with all you guys in there. But I just want to say one thing. Awesome job. Very motivational. And I apologize to him for being in Schenectady because last night he came after dinner. And it's sad to say, it is true. I'll say while we're up here, the three of us collectively at the same time got robbed. A lot of money. A lot of money.
On the tables, guys.
No one's robbing these three guys, let's be honest.
We sat down on a blackjack table together, and I don't know if we got lost in the conversation or what, but this lady just wiped the floor with us, so I'm sorry about that, but he did an awesome job here. I don't want him to have a bad impression of Schenectady, but I think they love you right here. So, you got any questions real quick for Jason, anybody? Want to jump up on the mic?
Hit it.
I just want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, come here.
There we go.
Thank you for being grateful.
Thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
service.